make things as simple as possible. Another term would be to dumb it down, because I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I like simple and to the point. Hey there, Coach Devin here. We are live. Episode 3 of Ask Devin, or Ask Coach Devin. The reason I do these, obviously, is so that people can ask as many questions as they want about health and fitness. Lots of times people ask interesting questions and we get off on interesting topics. So if you have a question, write it up down below. I'd love to hear from you. All right, so I actually have a couple pre-questions that people have asked me already going forward, so I'm going to throw some of those out there right away. First question I had was, Devin, how do you gain muscle, and what's a good rep range for muscle gain? That is an interesting one. That's a great question. Really, really good question. Okay, muscle gain, otherwise known as muscle hypertrophy. Hypertrophy? It's an interesting word. Anyway, muscle hypertrophy means gaining muscle. That's just what it boils down to. Yeah, it's pretty much that simple. So, what's the best rep ranges? You can gain muscle. If you want rep ranges for gaining muscle, you can gain muscle anywhere between 5 and 20 reps. Anywhere in there will work. However, there are some things to remember with that. Number one, if you're in the 5 rep range, you're not going to get any muscular endurance with that. You're going to be like a powerlifter, right? Doesn't mean that it's a bad thing, but if you're looking to gain muscle and some muscular endurance, doesn't work as well. If you are in the, the 20 rep range, the 15 and up rep range, you are going to get more muscular endurance and less muscle growth. Doesn't mean you can't put on muscle there, but it also means that you'll have more muscular endurance, which means the muscle won't grow as much. The sweet spot basically is to be in the middle there. So anywhere between 8 and say 12 reps is probably bang for your buck, the best spot to be. Bar none, without question, that's the best spot you want to be in. Anywhere in there is a great spot to be for muscle hypertrophy, otherwise known as gaining muscle. So anywhere between the 8 and 12 rep range is a great spot to be. Other thing to remember too is there's also, you want to make sure you are stressing the muscle enough. So if you're stressing the muscle enough, how does that work? What's the best way to do that? Okay, you want to make sure that at the end of, say, 8 reps or the end of 12 reps, wherever you happen to be, if you're doing 12 reps of something, for example, just to take it as an idea. If you're going to do 12 reps of that, okay, you want to have 1 or 2 reps maximum left in the tank, maybe 3, when you're done a set. So if you're doing a set and it's 12 reps, you want to get to the end and be like, okay, I have a little bit left, but not too much. If you have too much left, bad things will happen because you aren't pushing yourself as far as you want to go. If you have gone absolute failure, well, guess what? Now that gets in the way of your ability to do another set. So you don't want, there's a little bit of a juggling situation in there. You don't want to be juggling, you don't want to be stupid about it. So you don't want to do too much. You don't want to be going to failure on every set because that's not a good idea, because it will cannibalize later things that you want to do. But on the other side of it, you also want to make sure that you're going to push yourself to a point you have 1 or 2, 3 reps max left in the tank when you're done a set. Then you can take a 1 or 2 minute break if you're looking for, again, this is about muscle gain. If you're trying to gain muscle, take a 1 or 2 minute break and then go back again and again, try to aim for that 12 rep and have 1 or 2 reps left. So that is kind of the ins and outs of strength. And if you want to gain muscle, that's one of the things to remember. Again, you can gain muscle right from 5 reps all the way up to 20 reps, but it does change a little bit. The 5 reps is more of the powerlifting type of thing. The 20 reps is more on the muscular endurance side of things. I like the sweet spot of, anywhere between 8 and 12. If you're looking for muscle growth, which most people, let's get down to it, you do want to gain some muscle, so that's important. So anywhere between 8 and 12 is where I like people to be. I think that bang for your buck, that's what you will get the best out of that at that range. So that breaks down a little bit of information on muscle hypertrophy. I'm having a hard time saying that today. Muscle hypertrophy, which means growing muscle. There's lots of fun terms in health and fitness that nobody really needs to know. But you know what? Sometimes you got to talk about them. Okay, second question is, that was a good question there. People often ask me about macros, okay? And this question is about macros. Devin, do I need to track all my macros if I want to lose weight? Okay. No, you don't. The answer to that is no. Macros are this. So the macros we're talking about are macronutrients. Back a few years ago, we had a lot of the If It Fits Your Macros diet was out there. It was very popular. Everybody loved the If It Fits Your Macros diet. It does work, but the problem with If It Fits Your Macros is very simple. It's a lot of work to keep track of it because you have to track all your carbs, all your fats, all your proteins. The science, though, says you don't have to do that. I like to make things as simple as possible. Another term would be to dumb it down because I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I like simple and to the point. And the thing to remember is you don't have to reinvent the wheel, make things crazy and wild and cool. That's not necessary. You don't have to do crazy shit. So the thing to remember is there's two things to remember on any diet, okay? Any diet out there, two things to remember. Number one, make sure you eat enough protein. And when we're talking protein for women, we're talking who are exercising 0.5 to 0.75 grams of protein per pound of body weight. For men, 0.75 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That is the gold standard. You want to aim for that. In North American diet, we eat a lot of carbs, we eat a lot of fat, we don't eat a lot of protein. It's important to eat the protein. Number one, it's the building block of the muscle. It allows you to gain muscle, allows you to keep muscle. If you build muscle, you can burn more fat, so that's a win. Everybody wants to look leaner. If you want to look leaner, grow some muscle. Eat more protein. Number one, everything in the scientific literature says eat protein, number one. Number two, being a caloric negative. Caloric negative, I've talked about this a bunch of times. A caloric negative just means you are taking in fewer calories than you're expending. So it's really actually very, very simple. You take in fewer calories than you're expending. So if I am eating 2,000 calories in a day and I'm burning 2,400 in a day, that means I'm in a caloric negative of 400 calories a day, right? Because I've burnt 2,400, but I've only taken in 2,000, which means I'm going to lose weight. Those are the two things scientifically that you have to do. The fat and the carbs will fall into line. You don't have to track your macros on those. They're not that important. Don't stress over them. I got a call coming in there. We'll have to do that one again. Sorry about that. Funny how when things go live, crazy stuff happens. The thing to remember is you don't have to track all of your calories. It's not important to, you do have to track your calories. You don't have to track all of your macros. You do have to track the important things, which is the number of calories you're having is important, number one, and number two, the protein you're having is important. So again, 0.5 to 0.75 grams of protein per pound of body weight for women who are exercising. For men, 0.75 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is sort of the gold standard. That's where you want to be. And it's a story. And if you do those two things, if you track your calories and you're in caloric negative, you're eating fewer calories than you're expending during the day, and you are eating enough protein every day, you will lose weight and get leaner. Those are the facts, period, end of discussion. It works. It is what it is. It works great. You just have to do it. That's it. And all the scientific literature talks about this. Every single scientific study they've done has basically borne out these exact things. So it's not rocket science. It's actually really easy. Don't worry about the fats and the carbs. They will fall into line provided your calories are where they should be and your protein is where it should be. Those are that's the basics of everything. A side note on that one, let's talk about diet plans for a second, because once I get on this, I like to get on a little rant about diets, so we're going to have a little rant about diets. Listen, every diet plan out there is exactly the same, okay? Every single one is the same. When somebody tells you a diet plan is new, cool, improved, based on new science, they are lying to you. Intermittent fasting, keto, Atkins, South Beach, vertical diet, every single diet is based on calories in versus calories out. It's that simple. They all are. Anybody who tells you differently is making things up for you, right? They're trying to sell you something new, like a supplement. Nowadays, diet plans are not about the book. It's about telling you, oh, if you do this and you buy my supplements, you're going to do great. They're all the same. They're all the same. If you're going to talk about like keto, I always like to call Atkins the new Atkins, right? Because keto is exactly Atkins, just with more supplements. That's all keto is. Keto means you don't eat carbs, right? You keep yourself in ketosis, so your body will burn fat as fuel, and everybody's like, yeah, that's the best way to do it. In reality, very hard to eat too many calories when you're only eating fats and proteins. Really hard to do. So you lose weight because you're taking in fewer calories than you're burning. If you're talking intermittent fasting, another really simple one. Intermittent fasting just means you have less time to eat the calories. If you have less time to eat the calories, guess what happens? Harder to eat the calories, you lose weight. They're all exactly the same. Every diet out there is the same. Anybody tells you different, they're making shit up. They are just lying to you. Don't listen to them and don't believe them. It comes down to calories in versus calories out and protein. Those are the only things that matter. You can get into all kinds of funky different shit if you feel like it, but it isn't going to work. Well, let's be clear. It could work, but it isn't working because of the things they're telling you is working. It's working because you're eating enough protein and you are taking in fewer calories. It really is that simple. And I've seen this stuff come and go in fitness. I've been in this stuff for 28 years. They do it again. They just repackage. Because fitness is big business. A lot of people want to lose weight. A lot of people want to get leaner. It's normal. It's normal operating procedure. It's not a weird thing for people to want to do is get more fit and be more healthy. My friend Rob likes to say to me, the nice thing about your business is there's nobody out there going, you know what, I'd like to get a little less fit. It's not a thing. It's not what happens. So because people are not trying to get less fit, they want to be more fit. Well, what happens with that? People are looking for diet plans. They're looking for guidance. Sexy guidance looks like the coolest, right? It does. It looks like the coolest thing out there. Like, oh, look at this. Look what you have. But it isn't rocket science. It's actually very, very easy if you just follow through. So eat enough protein. Period. Watch the earlier in the video. Eat enough protein. Make sure you're in a caloric negative, means you're taking in fewer calories than you're expending in a day. You will lose weight and get leaner. It's that simple. There's nothing else sexy about it. Unfortunately, I haven't made this into a diet, so I'm never going to get rich from this information. But that is bang for your buck what it is. Simple and to the point. Easy stuff to remember. Okay. Next question. Nobody has asked me any questions on here yet, so we'll go to the next question. Devin, what is your favorite leg exercise? Tough one. I like a lot of leg exercises. I'm a huge fan of leg exercises. If you're talking bang for your buck, I like walking lunges. Huge fan because it's the most work in the least amount of time. And I like that. I like to use my time wisely or judiciously as much as I can because I've got kids and I've got a business to run. There's things to do. Love walking lunges. It's a bang for your buck exercise. That and squats. Those are my two babies. I will stick with them till the cows come home. Big fan of those. So my favorite leg exercises, squats and walking lunges. Bang for your buck. If you're going to do only two things, do those. You'll get results from them. It's pretty simple. Plus, they use all of your body, right? So it's not just quadricep, which is your thigh. It's not just hamstring and glute. You're going to use everything on a lunge. Same thing with a squat. So it's bang for your buck. That's what I like to do. I like stuff that's going to do the most work in the least amount of time and in the simplest way. Again, I like simple stuff. All right, next question. Still no questions on here. You guys can ask questions. It's okay. I don't mind. That's why I come on here and do lives, is I ask questions so people can have ideas. If something pops in your head and you're like, hey, that doesn't make any sense or whatever, ask. Okay, next question. Devin, where did you learn all this stuff about health and fitness? It's an interesting question. And how'd you get so smart on it? Okay, that's an interesting one. Okay, I am a big exercise geek at heart. I'm not really that. I'm going to be first. I'm not that smart. I'm just not that smart. But I do get off on exercise and food stuff. I find it interesting. When I was younger, I was very skinny, always very uncomfortable with how I felt because I was so skinny. Anybody who knows me from, junior high, elementary, high school, very skinny. I mean, I graduated high school, I was probably 170 pounds. I'm 5'10". It's not a lot of weight. Now, to give you an idea, I'm about 235 now. So obviously very different size in my body now. I always was very uncomfortable. I started to exercise and I loved the feeling of it. I liked the challenge of it. I thought it was kind of cool to do. So I kind of got into it and I got interested in it. And when you're interested in it, you tend to read a lot about it. I read a ton and watch a ton of health and fitness stuff. I like reading about studies, about health and fitness and weight loss. That's my thing. If I had a choice of watching something, watching a YouTube video, I'm going to look up health and fitness, weight loss. That's the kind of stuff I like. Better ways to stress your body with less time. I like all this stuff. Now, let me be clear, I'm not that smart. It's just that I retain that information pretty well because I love it. Whatever you like to do and you're into and you enjoy, think of that, right? If that's what you're into and you enjoy that thing, you pay attention to it, that's what I pay attention to. So I like stressing my body. I like learning things about how to do things better because I made a ton of mistakes. And let's be honest, I made a ton of mistakes when it comes to exercise from the time I was a kid on up. So since I've made a ton of mistakes, I like helping people not make those mistakes. So that number one, I'm an exercise geek at heart. And number two, I really find health and fitness interesting, but I also love helping people. That is the best part of my job. So I got to spend time with people and help them do things and help them progress. It's exciting for me when I see somebody who progresses and does well. That's super exciting. So that's the reason I do it. That's really the whole reason I do my job. If we're going to be honest, that's the reason I do my job. I love watching people, excel and do well. So because I like watching people excel and do well, I like what I do for work because I get to do that stuff. So that's that question. Not that smart though. Keep in mind, I'm not really all that smart. I just can regurgitate information and I can retain information on things that I like. And I like health and fitness. Okay, next one up. We had a few of them today. Just scrolling to make sure I haven't answered stuff already in some of these questions because some of them I've already answered. Had a couple from last week where people had a few things to say. I made a comment last week about people, whether or not they are more engaged based on where the perceived cost of things. I'm not going to get into that, to be honest. I'm not going to talk about it again. I know a bunch of people have asked me about it. I wasn't, again, not trying to insult anybody. If you want to go back and watch the video from last week, again, I don't think I was insulting anybody at all. Some people took it the wrong way, I think, and probably that's me because I'm not communicating it well enough. Certainly wasn't mean to insult anybody. If anybody was insulted, sorry about that. But again, I've done this a long time. I've seen a lot of people do different things in health and fitness. So anyway, I'm not going to answer questions on those. I've had a few questions on those. I'm not going to answer those questions. I have two more on here. The first one, Devin, what do you like best for cardio? What is the best fat burning exercise for cardio? Interesting one. I look at cardio a little differently than a lot of trainers look at cardio, and maybe a lot of people look at cardio. I look at cardio as heart health. Cardio is technically cardiovascular, it's heart health. I don't care what cardio you're doing because I don't worry about cardio being for fat burning properties necessarily. It's great if you're going exercise and you burn 400 calories, great. That's an extra 400 calories that you burned off in the day. I think it's good. That is a positive, but for me, maybe because I'm older now and I'm 48 years old, I feel like the heart health side of it is the most important part. So yes, while it's nice to burn calories and get some more calories done, I look at health at cardio as being a health heart thing. That's what I want to do with it. So what do you do cardio-wise? I don't care what you do, honestly. You can go for a brisk walk. You can go for a run. You can do sprints. You can do a bike. You can do a mountain climb, a step mill. You can do an elliptical, whatever you want to do, whatever your chosen thing is that you like, do it, but change it. Don't only do one thing, because if you're on an elliptical every single day, your body will get used to that. Harder to stress your body at that. You want to change the stimulus all the time. That's how fitness works. Fitness works is you go to the gym and you create a stimulus and a stress on the body, and then your body heals from that and gets better. If you do the same stimulus every day, your body will only get that much better. If the stimulus is here, it'll get this fit. It won't go more. It just gets right to here. So if you change the stimulus all the time, your body is consistently changing, trying to match and keep up with the stimulus. So any cardio you're doing, change it. Make it different. Do different stuff. This morning I did a bike. The other day I did elliptical. Saturday I went for a run. Doesn't need to be different every single day, but it should be changing on a regular basis. It doesn't matter the cardio you're doing as long as you're doing it. That trumps everything. It always will. You will beat everybody else who isn't doing it, or the people who are doing it but are doing the same stuff again and again, if you change things up. Do not change, you got to change things. It is 100% change it on a day, like do 2 days or 3 days of one type of cardio and then change it to a different one for a day or two, and then change it again. Keep going back and forth. That's important. Allie Tracy, who I went to school with. Allie's a friend of mine from elementary school, I think. How are you, Allie? She says, I love my rower. Huge fan of rowers. Rowers are a great exercise because it's almost like a little bit of resistance training along with doing cardio. So it's like bang for your buck. Huge rower fan. I think rowers are great. But again, if you do rowers every single day, not a good idea to do. You should do rowers, like if you did rowers twice a week and then you went for, one jog a week and you went for a hike once a week, there's 4 days of cardio. They're all different and they're all going to stress you in different manners. And guess what? You're going to get best bang for your buck and your time. In reality, it comes down to time. So always good for that. Mark Chisholm, hey dude, what is the best exercise to get rid of fat off your upper legs? Interesting thighs. If you're looking to burn fat on any part of your body, and I'm thank you for the question, Mark. One of the issues people always get into, and they're like, yes, we have known each other 30 years, Allie. It's true. It's been a long time, probably more than that actually, because I think I'm 48 now, so it's probably longer than that. It's been 30 years since we graduated high school, though. That's what it is. This summer, 30 years. Okay. If you're talking about spot reduction, right? If I want to burn fat from one specific thing, okay, I got some unfortunate news for you. It doesn't happen. There is no such thing as fat reduction. If I do a ton of abs, I'm not going to get leaner in my abs. You lose body fat all over. Okay, now people lose body fat in different portions and different times. That stuff does happen, but you can't spot reduce by doing a whole lot of one thing. You can grow more muscle in that spot, 100%, but you're not going to spot reduce. The best way to reduce fat in any part of your body is being a caloric negative. So take in fewer calories than you expend and you will lose fat overall, which means you'll lose fat in your legs. But if we're talking about wanting to make sure that you're going to get bang for your buck in leg exercises, I'm a huge fan of lunges and squats. Those are two of my favorites. And you know what? If you want to get another one in there, deadlifts. I like deadlifts a lot too. But if you can't spot reduce, unfortunately, it's one of those things. I wish I could tell you that you could spot reduce, Mark, but you can't spot reduce. It doesn't work that way. Your body doesn't work in that manner. Doing one exercise to burn fat in one spot will not have you burn fat. You might have a change in your legs. Say you did a lot of squats. You might have a change in how your legs look based on the fact that you have more muscle now and the fat is spread out, but the fat itself hasn't changed. Fat will only change with eating the right amount of protein and being a caloric negative, so eating fewer calories than you take in, or burning more calories than you take in. Eating fewer calories than you take in didn't make any sense. Burning more calories than you take in, that is what will bang for your buck, give you what you're looking for. So eat fewer calories than you expend during the day. Make sure you get lots of protein and exercise, and you'll see differences in your legs or your abs or wherever you happen to be. Spot reduction, unfortunately, is not a thing, and since spot reduction isn't a thing, you know what, it just doesn't work. I had a client one time come to me and said, she's like, I've been off for a bit. I'd like to keep the weight here and here. She touched her butt, but I want to keep it there, but everywhere else I want to lose it. And I said to her, you know what, if I could do that for you, I would be the richest trainer in the world, but I can't, because you can't do that. It would be nice. It would be really nice to be able to pull it off and say, I'm going to spot reduce from your waist and, your arms and your shoulders and your back, but you're going to keep, your boobs and you're going to keep your butt more. No, it doesn't work that way. You lose fat overall, you gain fat overall. It's just the way your body works. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, you can't spot reduce. Happy to help, Mark. Best thing you can do, though, honestly, eat enough protein, eat fewer calories than you expend during the day, and you'll see differences. Again, it's not sexy. Food and how you eat and exercise, it's not sexy. People try to make it sexy because they're trying to sell you stuff. But when they're trying to sell you stuff, they're just trying to sell you stuff. What I'm telling you is the facts scientifically. There's no other way around it. People will try to jerry-rig it 8 ways from Sunday, but it doesn't work that way. And if I could make it sexy, I'd probably make a ton of money on it, but you know what? I tend to be just pretty utilitarian and do it the way I do it. That's just how I am. All right, unless there's other questions, I got one more I'm going to answer here. Hang on, I'm just going to scroll a little bit through that one. It looks like I kind of answered that question. Somebody had a question on spot reduction. So since they had a question on spot reduction and I just talked about it, we're not going to go there. Hang on a second. Devin, food-wise, I find it very difficult to eat when I get up in the morning. What would you say with that? Okay. A problem that a lot of people have is eating in the morning. I'm a guy that I wake up and I'm hungry in the morning. I'm also hungry most of the time, but I'm hungry in the morning. Lots of other people are not hungry in the morning, and they're like, how do I fit this in? One of the things you have to keep in mind is it's okay not to be a person who's hungry in the morning. There's no magic time to eat food. When somebody says, I shouldn't eat after 7 p.m., they're full of crap. You can eat after 7 p.m. It's not going to change anything. Your body doesn't really care what time it is. It is calories over a 24-hour period. Okay, that's what it boils down to. Calories over a 24-hour period. That's the only thing that matters. So if you're eating too many calories over a 24-hour period, you will gain weight. If you eat fewer calories over a 24-hour period, you'll lose weight. And the simple math with that is take your body weight in pounds, multiply it by 10. I'm 235 pounds. 235 times 10 is 2,350 calories. That's how many calories I would need to maintain my body weight. If I exercise, say, and burn 400 calories, now I'm a little bit higher, right? So now I'm at 2,750 calories. As long as I eat less than 2,750 calories in any one 24-hour period, I will lose weight. That's the simple math. That's how it works. Works the same for every single person, not any different for anybody else. Nobody's special. Nobody's an alien. It's always the same. It's how that works. Now, does it matter when you eat your calories? No, that's why intermittent fasting does work, because it just shrinks the amount of time you can eat, right? You're like, I don't eat for, whatever it is, 14, 18 hours in a day. I'm eating this number. You can do that. You don't need breakfast necessarily. And so that was the question is, do I have to have breakfast? You don't need to have breakfast. But the caveat I would say to this is in 28 years of being a trainer, I will tell you this in all honesty, and it works for me too. When you are hungry, you make dumb decisions, right? You're sleepy, you make dumb decisions. You're angry, you make dumb decisions. If I'm pissed off, I make all kinds of stupid decisions. If you are sad, you'll make dumb decisions because you are letting emotions control things. And when you're hungry, because you are in an altered state, you make bad decisions. I'm a big believer in eating 5 to 6 small meals a day and never letting yourself get to a point where you're actually hungry. You might be a little hungry, but you're not starving. Give you an idea, if I come home at the end of the day, I tend to do a lot of the cooking in my house. I come home at the end of the day and I'm super hungry. If I'm dying hungry, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to snack while I'm making supper, and in that half hour or whatever it takes me to make supper, guess what happens? I've eaten a ton of calories because I'm too hungry. That is one of those things you do which is dumb. It's a dumb choice on my part. I shouldn't do it. Eating regularly in the day, 5 to 6 small meals in the day, keeps you from getting to that point where you're super hungry. If you're not super hungry, you don't make dumb decisions. We've all gone to the grocery store hungry, right? You go to the grocery store and you're super hungry, you buy a bunch of stuff, and when you get home and you've eaten something else, you look at it and you're like, why did I buy that? I don't even like that shit. That's normal. That's just normal operating procedure. We're all the same on that one. I always say it's a little bit like being at a bar and having some drinks, and once you had enough drinks, everybody looks really good. But if you take one of them home, they might not look so good the next morning because now you are not in an altered state. Hunger is an altered state. You make dumb decisions in that. So do you have to eat breakfast? No. You don't have to eat breakfast. You could start eating at 10 in the morning. Doesn't matter. But if you are somebody who's eating breakfast, who doesn't eat breakfast, but by 10 you're starving and you're going to make dumb decisions at that point, then you have a problem, right? You have to it's a lot of juggling when it comes to health and fitness and making sure you're making good choices and wise choices. The best things you can do is set yourself up for a positive interaction, set yourself up for a position where you will win, and sometimes that means by eating regularly throughout the day. Now, if you're somebody who intermittent fasting works for, you can do that. Not going to hurt you any. But there's no time you should stop eating at night unless you've had enough calories. That's the caveat with that. It's not a 7 o'clock. It's not a time. I quite often will have a snack before I go to bed because I have enough calories left. And, my snack before I go to bed, I tend to have I have yogurt, Greek yogurt. I mix in protein powder, and I put usually some almonds or cashews in it because you want to get some positive fats. It also fills you up. And eat that. It's a great way to eat before you go to bed. It's probably 350, 400 calories, but I have those calories I can use, right? Now, if I've eaten a whole lot all day long and I don't have those calories, if I do that every night, I'm going to gain weight. Guaranteed I'll gain weight because it would be too many calories. But if I've controlled what I've done during the day and I made wise choices during the day, then I can have that. So there's no cutoff time for food, and there's no start time for food necessarily, but you do want to try to set yourself up for the best possible situation, which would be to make sure you're eating consistently throughout the day, and then if you're not hungry, better things happen if you're not hungry. That is all the questions I had for today. I don't think there's been too many other questions that have sprung to mind. If you do have questions, feel free to write them up in the comments later on, or if anybody has a question now, I can answer it. Or if you don't, that's fine too. I pretty much can just talk to myself. But if you do have other questions, feel free to write them up in the comments or send them to me, and I will do it. I'm doing one of these every single week. Ask Coach Devin, and you can ask as many questions as you want. It's always good to have other questions you can ask, and obviously, the more questions people have, if you have a question, I can guarantee somebody else has that same question and is going, I wonder if. So never feel bad about asking questions. But if there's no more questions, guys, hope you have an amazing day. Go out there, make sure you work out, eat healthy, and watch what you're eating, and good things will happen. Have yourself an amazing day, everybody. Go fight the awesome.